How's it to everybody? Welcome to my fourth video. It's not going to be a very long video because it's been a while since I put up the last one, and I've done a whole ton of changes. So this just say behind me as the character on screen, but I'll show you another day for that. But for now, what I'd like to do is just run you through my bigger plan, because right now I'm sincerely hoping that with the release of the version 3 update, it's not going to mess with my save game. I really hope not, because it's a ton of work I've put into all this construction and building. But I'm super excited to see what the new version 3 update is going to bring, and how it's going to pan out into the future, and I'm really looking forward to it. So I'm really hoping that's not going to mess up my build and my save games. But what that also means is that if it's going to be as expansive as they say it and provide us with a ton more opportunities to create something absolutely amazing with our ideas, then I'm pretty much all for it. So for now, what I want to do, like I said, short video. You can see I've moved all my statues and also pushed some banners up as well. I moved them to this part of the map, which obviously means that that big long walkway where I had all these statues obviously doesn't exist anymore. Well, I mean, the walkway exists, but what's on the walkway is very different, because obviously, as you can see, this is pretty much where all my statues are now. And I'll put up some banners just to see what there is. So you'll also see in the back here, I've got a couple of walls up, and what I'd like to do is just run you through just the idea of what I want to do. And when I say big build, I literally mean I want this to be a big build. That's why I'm hoping, as I said, this is not the new version 3 release of Conan is not going to mess up the building, because it would just suck to have to do all this from scratch. But anyway, without giving away all the changes I've done in the back, let me just keep my back to it, and let me just pop down here, and let me just come over here. Okay, so as I said, what this is this is just a wall of all my ideas of what I want to do. I'll take it from this angle here. So you can see I've got all these different sections and all these different aspects of buildings that I'd like to do. And obviously then it just continues over there. I obviously reserve the right to change. Without a doubt, a lot of these names will change as well as I come up with smarter, more fancier and clever names, because right now it's just kind of like a guideline as to what I'm going to be building. So I just want to quickly run through each section and tell you where I'm sitting with everything, and then you can see when I say this is going to be a big build, why this is going to be a big build. But anyway, let's start here. Okay, so the Royal Precinct. Okay, so the Royal Precinct at the end of the day is pretty much, that's the part I've been showing everybody the last few videos. That includes the royal residences, throne room, royal workshops, thrall residences, barracks, tavern, royal worship, royal chambers, and prison. Quickly, royal residences, self-explanatory, where the king, the queen, and the concubines stay. That's pretty much this building here, actually, which I haven't shown yet, but I will get around to it one day. Throne room, I've shown everybody the throne room already. That's that big cylindrical building. That was one of the first buildings I actually showed. So throne room is pretty much done. Royal workshops done. Thrall's residences done. Barracks, well, that's this whole section down here. That's the barracks. I've shown that as well. Tavern, I've shown. Royal worship, I've shown. Royal worship is actually where I've done a ton of changes to just make it a bit more enclosed and a bit more attractive. Royal chambers to me, I'd like to consider as the, let's just say that's the offices of the king. And then obviously over here we got the prison. So the royal precinct part, majority of that is done. As per usual, I've just got the actual buildings done. Some parts of the buildings, of course, have got interior designing having been done. But there's still a lot I need to do. So, royal precinct, pretty much done. Just a bit of tweaks here and there. Now, entertainment precinct. I haven't yet shown anybody where that's going to be. But most, actually, all these areas here, or all these sections, because, see, these names at the top, they're like royal precinct, entertainment precinct, Colosseum precinct, waterfront precinct, nobles precinct, peasants precinct, and religious precinct. I've pretty much got locations that I've isolated as to where I'm going to build this. I might change at a later date, especially with the entertainment precinct, because that's a lot of things I'd like to build, but I don't quite know if this area is going to be big enough. But we'll see. I don't really think I can build it anywhere else, to be dead honest, because it's right along the seashore and the beach, so that would definitely play in very nicely to the overall environment that would be built. But nonetheless, let's see what we're going to do here. So entertainment precinct, we've got the zoo. Self-explanatory. Throw some animals in there, see what we can do. Now you see that I've got restaurant and tavern. Okay, so obviously restaurant being there and tavern being down there. Now the reason why I split those up is because to me they are two very different things. Tavern, you go there, you drink, you get drunk, you be stupid, you be silly, you chill out. Restaurant, lot more composed, eat nice tasty meals, enjoyable meals. That's pretty much where you'd go with your family as well. So to me there's a big difference between, or a difference between restaurants and taverns. So that's why I've got two separate ones. So we've got a zoo, we've got a restaurant, self-explanatory. For lack of a better word, companionship establishment. I'll leave that up to you all to just to kind of like put the pieces together. But you know, to keep this, shall we say, PG, we just call it companion establishment for now. Amphitheater, which is obviously a much smaller version of the Colosseum, and being an amphitheater, amphitheaters are generally outdoors as well, so that's why there will be a difference between an amphitheater and a theater. As you can see, I'm actually South African, and that's why I spell theater T-R-E and not T-E-R. Anyway, beach, it's going to be on the beach anyway, so let's just put out a couple of chairs and tables and eating areas. Tavern, I explained that. Marketplace, self-explanatory, where you go and trade and buy things. And accommodation, you can call that hotels. That's where the hotels are going to be. So that's pretty much my entertainment precinct, as I've called it there. Anything that I need to elaborate on there? Not really. Self-explanatory pretty much. Colosseum precinct. Now, if I actually just pop up here, let me just go behind here, okay? Because as I said, I don't want to give away what I've done in the front there. That big building over there that hasn't quite come into view there. That building is the Colosseum, and that is obviously a elevator to go there, but I'll show you that at a later date. And this, as I said, is the royal residences that I've pretty much done already. Let me pop back down here. Now, the Colosseum at the end of the day is going to be another big area. The Colosseum proper is pretty much done, finished, ready, just needs a bit of decorating. As I said, all these buildings that I've built already, they all got sandstone at the moment. I didn't bother to do anything else just yet. But I know that if I come back here, I've already started to make some changes to the throne room with regards to what type of material and walls I'm going to use. Because, as I mentioned in my very first video, I've pretty much got all the DLC for the game. So I've got a nice selection of what I can use at the end of the day. So I've pretty much picked out what sieve I'm going to use for at least the throne room design. But as I said, that'll be for another video at a later date. So back to the Colosseum. So there we go. Colosseum precinct. What do we have there? So we've got the Colosseum proper. Right. You've got the fighters' residences. You know, I said fighters because generally this is not Roman where you have your gladiators, although pretty much it's the same principle. So fighters' residences, we'll keep it as is. Colosseum thralls, self-explanatory. Those are the people that will be helping out in the Colosseum. A lot of these actual positions are going to require me to train a hang of a lot of bearers, because really they're the only ones that you can actually just put in place and just let stand. They aren't fighters, of course, but I mean the problem being is that when you mouse over the fighters and at least the warriors, you can see if they're fighters or archers. So it kind of like destroys the illusion. So I'm going to have a ton of bearers that I'm going to have to train, or should I say convert to thralls. So Colosseum thralls, animal pens, training yards, self-explanatory, nothing further to explain there. And obviously within the Colosseum, you know, just to mention, a lot of these places, like for example the Colosseum, it's not just the Colosseum, of course, because the Colosseum has to have eating areas, restaurants, you know, it has to have other amenities within the Colosseum. So I mean, obviously that's how I will elaborate at a later date, the Colosseum And, you know, even training yards. And their training yards, I'm not even just talking about things like where your fighters and archers train like in the barracks. Who knows, you know? I mean, for all of these, I'm very much open to suggestions on what I can add and what might enhance the actual precinct. By the way, precinct we're just using for now, but I do need to come up with another name. I don't want to call them quadrants or quads or something like that, because really a quad means it's got 4 sides. Waterfront precinct. Okay, this is more along lines of, shall we say, the harbour area. Okay. This will be things like our docks, another tavern, because remember, I mean, a lot of, you know, at this age where Conan is based, it's pretty much based on the medieval times, you know, that period. And a lot of the time during that period of time, you know, lots of people and sailors just used to hang around in taverns, and captains would pretty much come about, find them, pull them onto the ship, because the truth of the matter being is that sailors weren't expected to survive very long out on the rough seas with the pretty much primitive ships that were used and everything. So, I mean, sailors were a dime a dozen. You know, they were pretty much there, did the job, one ship, and pretty much that was it, you know. So, tavern, where all the sailors will hang out, just to be sourced by captains. Warehousing, self-explanatory, massive storage areas. Fish farm, you know, self-explanatory as well. Got a couple of fish traps, shellfish traps, put them down there. And merchants being, you know, merchants to me, the way I'm perceiving this, is not necessarily something akin to a marketplace where people necessarily trade. You know, merchants are also people that have certain trade routes that they manage and they oversee using shipping, because obviously everything that's going to be based in the waterfront pretty much has some relationship to marine, or to pretty much the art of sailing, you know. Nobles precinct, self-explanatory. That's where all the wealthy people are. That's where all the rich will be. Gonna do some nobles homes, a university, boutique retailers, a park, a museum, and a theater. Nobles homes, the truth is, I do have limited space. I can't be building 50 homes. So maybe I build like 3 or 4 nobles homes. What I'm going to try to do with all these designs, I don't know how easy it's going to be or how difficult it's going to be. But, you know, it's going to take a bit of imagination, because obviously I want all the homes to look different, have a different feel, have a different interior design, a different look. Because in all honesty, I mean, if they're all just going to be a square building with 4 walls, it's going to be kind of boring. You know, so obviously in Noble's homes, very unique designs. I'm open to suggestions on websites or, you know, graphics or images that can be shared with me, where I can get some ideas for Noble home designs. University, self-explanatory. Boutique retailers, you know, obviously your more high-end marketplace. A park, you need a park in a wealthy area. I mean, that's just the fact of the matter. Museum, I mean, already you've got in the game, if I just pop back down here, you've already got statues, and you've got figurines, and you've got banners, plus there's a couple of pictures, you know. So I'm obviously going to throw these into the museum, you know, pass it off as that. And obviously a theatre, being an enclosed theatre. I mean, really. Amphitheatre, like I said, open air, theatre, closed building. So that is our nobles precinct that I'm going to be working on. Here we've got the peasants precinct, and we've got the religious precinct. Peasants precincts, peasant homes, those must probably just be square 4-walled buildings, because you're not expected to have variety in peasant homes, and obviously maybe a couple of multi-story buildings as well. A tavern, I mean, even peasants need somewhere to sit and relax and chill out and catch their breath. You know, I need to elaborate on a couple of more amenities to put in the peasants precinct without going overboard and making it akin to the nobles precinct. So I'm open to some suggestions. And then of course the religious precinct, being the temples, the altars, and now of course with the new version, with the new Conan 3.0 coming out, and now them having sorcery and altars and sacrifices, that could actually end up being a very, very interesting part of the game. So, you know, in a nutshell, that's what I'm looking at. And when I say big build, I mean big build. I mean, that's just the way it is, and that's just what I'm going to try to do. And once again, I am open to suggestions. I would love some suggestions on what I want to do. But yeah, that's pretty much my action plan. Whether it will take me 2 months or 1 month or 6 months, whether I have viewers for 1 day or 3 day or 4 day or 1 video or 2 videos, you know, so be it. But I mean, you can see this big, massive vision I have. You know, it's definitely not going to be the biggest build ever done by somebody that plays Conan Exiles. But, you know, I'm just hoping to make it very unique, very special. And I would love to hear feedback on how I can change or what I can do. And, you know, just let's see, you know. More ideas. People might have done designs that I haven't come across. I've already seen a couple of designs that are very cool that I might just incorporate into my designs. But yeah, that's pretty much just the story. So thank you very much for sitting through this this video. I sincerely hope that, you know, I'll maybe take along some of you for the ride. But, you know, at the end of the day, I really think this is going to be quite an amazing achievement. And you will just see, you know, I'm also hoping to just develop this further. I need to come up with names. I need to come up with locations. I need to come up with a whole pile of different things to just give it that unique twist at the end of the day, to separate it from all the other designs. And even now, there's a lot that I haven't done in terms of getting into the nitty-gritty of Conan, that for all I know, I might come across something special that I can integrate into my builds that I haven't come across. And, you know, maybe I'll do that. But anyway, thank you very much for sitting through this little short video. I'm assuming it's a short video. And I sincerely hope that you'll come along with me on the journey. Anyway, have a good one. Cheers, bye.